I've always been the curious type, the kind of person who doesn't shy away from an old abandoned building. When I heard about St. Gabriel's Hospital, an old psychiatric ward that had been shut down decades ago due to unexplainable events, I knew I had to check it out. It was located on the outskirts of town, nestled between overgrown fields and dense woods. The hospital had been empty for years, its windows boarded up, the iron gates rusted shut. Most people in town said it was haunted, and they warned me not to go near it. They said strange things happened to those who did, but I didn't believe in ghosts. I didn't believe in any of that. The moment I stepped inside, I regretted it. The hospital was dark and cold, the kind of cold that settles deep in your bones. The air smelled stale, like old paper and dust. The walls were cracked, and peeling wallpaper hung like the tattered remnants of a forgotten past. It was as if the building itself was trying to forget what had happened within its walls. I wandered down the long hallways, my flashlight barely cutting through the darkness. The floors creaked under my feet, and I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination. After all, this place had been abandoned for years. But as I ventured deeper into the hospital, I started to hear things. Soft whispers, like a conversation just out of reach. Footsteps that echoed behind me, though no one was there. I turned quickly, but the hallway was empty. I couldn't explain it, but I felt like I wasn't alone. I reached what must have been the old psychiatric ward. The rooms were nothing more than empty shells. Rusted beds, broken furniture, faded charts still pinned to the walls. But in one room, the door wasn't fully closed. It was slightly ajar, as though someone had left in a hurry but never came back. I pushed the door open. Inside, the room was different. It was colder than the others, and the air felt thick, like it was pressing in on me. There in the corner was a figure, a woman sitting in a chair, her back to me. She was dressed in an old-fashioned hospital gown, her hair long and matted, her body unnaturally still. I thought she was a part of the hospital's old equipment, some kind of mannequin or display. But as I stepped closer, I froze. Her head turned slowly, her eyes wide and vacant, her face pale and drawn. She smiled at me, but it wasn't a smile. It was unsettling. A twisted, unnatural grin that stretched far too wide. Her eyes, dark and empty, seemed to pierce through me. I backed away, my heart racing in my chest. My flashlight flickered, and I could feel a cold breath on my neck, like someone was standing right behind me. But when I spun around, no one was there. I ran out of the room, but the hallway seemed to stretch on forever. The walls, once familiar, now seemed like they were closing in. The whispers had grown louder, and I could hear faint cries in the distance, as though the building itself was echoing the tortured souls that had once been kept there. I stumbled through the darkened halls, my breathing quick and shallow. The temperature dropped further. I could see my breath, thick and white in the air. The sounds were growing closer now. Footsteps that followed my every move, heavy breathing that matched my own. And then I heard it, a voice, soft and insistent, coming from behind me. "Don't leave." I spun around again, but there was nothing. No one, just the empty hall stretching endlessly ahead. I didn't know what it was or who it was, but I wasn't about to stick around to find out. Panic surged through me as I bolted toward the exit. But the doors were no longer there. The hospital had changed. The hallway led to nowhere. Every turn I took led me back to the same room, the same corridor. It was as though the building had become a maze, trapping me inside. I could still hear her voice, faint and whispering, growing louder with every step. "Stay with me." I don't know how long I wandered through those cursed halls. Time seemed to lose all meaning. But eventually, something shifted. I found myself standing in front of the door I had originally entered through, the one that had been wide open when I first arrived. It was now closed, the lock jammed tight, the whispers stopped. I could hear my own heartbeat, thudding in my chest. My hands trembled as I turned the handle and pushed against the door. But the moment I stepped outside, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, like I was finally free. As I stumbled into the daylight, I glanced back at the hospital. The windows were dark, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw a figure standing behind one of them, watching me. But when I blinked, it was gone. I don't know what happened in that hospital. I don't know what kind of presence lingers there, or what it wanted from me, but I've never gone back. And I never will.
Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this eerie tale, don't forget to leave a like, and if you crave more chilling narratives, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Until next time.